I mean, I summarized it for you people because a girl cried. Oh, I cried a lot in this medical school something, but let's leave that for another day. I failed twice as a medical student, but on the 5th of March this year, I officially got inducted as a medical doctor after 8 bloody years. And all I can say is that medical school is most definitely meant for only mad people. People who are mad enough to lose their mental health, their physical health, emotional health, psychological health, ignoring all things pleasure and joy, just to be accorded the privilege of saving lives in the future without having any idea who is going to be coming to save theirs. And I've concluded that if you're not a mad person, this career path is not for you. I graduated high school at the end of 2016. Then after rigorous study sessions and so much crying, so much fear, so much hard work, I finally got the admission into one of the most sought after courses in the whole entire country at the beginning of 2017. But little did I know that getting admission is one thing, but keeping the admission you get into medical school is a whole new ball game entirely that nobody ever prepares you for. In today's video, I'll be giving you a brief summary of my tumultuous journey through medical school. But before we get into the video, hi bandmates, and to my new viewers, hi guys, I'm Abby, a medical doctor currently based in Nigeria, and on this channel I help overachievers and ambitious people make their journey towards achieving whatever goal they have set for themselves as easy and enjoyable as possible. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just stick around by subscribing. Now let's get into the details. Year 1. My first year in the university was my year of adjustment, my year of figuring things out. This is the point where I'm moving from high school, where obviously I had a little independence, but I still had control and I still have people looking over me, people who are also guiding me with rules, because I was in a boarding school. So there are still teachers, the principal, that are around to guide you and tell you what to do and what not to do. Although you're not with your parents in boarding school, but it's like you're still living with people who could pass as your parent. Moving from high school, no break in between. 2016 I graduated, 2017 I got admission. It was a transition that was a bit of a shock, especially for someone who is a loner like me and also who thrived really well where rules are being set for you. High school was like a breeze for me because there are rules, all I have to do is follow them. But coming into the university, especially into medical school, mind you, I'm coming in from a high school where I was a pioneer student in the high school. So I had no seniors whatsoever to guide me, to give me any sort of advice or, oh, this is how the university life is now, or this is how you should prepare for your JAM, or this is how you should prepare for your work. I was a pioneer student in high school, and transitioning from that into the university, I also became a pioneer student in the medical school that I got admission into. It's like I'm moving from no help, no advice, nobody to actually ask questions. It's one thing to ask your teachers questions, but it's another thing for you to ask people, students who are still in the educational system like you, questions. There is no senior colleague in high school, no senior colleague in the university. So it was more or less a transition that was a bit scary for me because I had to figure out how to make friends, figure out how to get into the rhythm of going to classrooms, going for lectures. I missed my lectures so many times because I couldn't find the right classroom for us, because in the year 1 you're going to be having the same classes with different people from other courses aside from medical students. I had to figure out how to run around for the orientation, how to also run around for registrations, whilst also trying to meet up with classes. And I missed a lot of classes until I heard something about attendance. I now had to start making up for the classes I missed. Year 1 was me figuring things out physically, emotionally, mentally, and especially socially for me, because coming from high school, I did have friends in high school, but my aim while coming into university, not just academically but socially, I wanted to build a good social circle. So how was I going to do that being the pioneer? I don't know what I'm gonna do there. Year 1 I'm going to tag it as a very confusing year for me socially. Academically it was still quite good because what we were learning in year 1 was basically what we learned in high school already, and then we came to the university and it was like a little bit of the advanced subjects we already learned prior. I had a foreknowledge for the year one. Academically, I'm going to rank my year one good. For socially, it was a bit hectic for me, but eventually I found my rhythm. I was lucky enough to get roommates that were really kind and really loving, and these roommates eventually turned out to be friends, and through them I met other people as well that became also friends as well. Now we move to year two. So year two was, I think, the beginning of my academic struggles, because in year two was when we're really introduced to brand new topics, brand new subjects, something that I've never seen in my life before. I mean, anatomy. Who are you? What are you? Where do you from? Year two was the beginning of my academic struggles, because as someone who is a firstborn child, we struggle a lot with hyper independence, and my own hyper independence also trickled into my academic life as well. I am the type of person, I don't like to ask for help. I work so hard, and I want to believe that my working hard should be enough for me. I don't need to go putting myself into the path of trying to ask someone to please help me. It makes me feel pathetic. I'm like, why am I asking this person? Why can't I just do it by myself? But I didn't know that that was what was going to shoot me at my Achilles heel, because at that point was the point where I supposed to open my mouth and actually ask for help, because I was really struggling to comprehend the anatomical terms. When you come to class, you see people answering questions, then you feel so stupid, because you're like, this is something I'm trying to understand, but people already know these things. And yet, my pride, my ego as a firstborn child and the only daughter in an Igbo family didn't let me open my mouth, go meet these people that I'm seeing that are good at these things, and ask them questions. I mean, physiology was okay for me because it was a bit straightforward, unlike anatomy that you need to understand to understand, and if you don't understand, you don't understand. Medical biochemistry, I wasn't really great at it, but I wasn't horrible. My major problem was anatomy, and yet I didn't open my mouth. I didn't meet people around me to ask for help. I was just struggling in silence. Year two was basically me struggling academically. I mean, socially I was already balanced. Psychologically I was a bit still shaky, but I haven't gotten to the extreme just yet, because I'm like still consoling myself that yeah, it's something new. I just need time, not help, but time for me to eventually get a grasp of what this anatomy is telling me here. So year three came by, and after my results from year two, I feel like every single medical student gets to get their first taste of humiliation in year two. When you see your first results from your tests, like out of 100 you're struggling with 23 out of 100, 30 out of 100. After the first result dropped and I was getting around those digits, it was a humbling experience and a mind-boggling experience for me as well. Going into year three, it was like a continuation of the confusion I already felt in year two, because we are still doing the same course that we did in year two in year three, but this time around I'm like, I've already had time, and I was thinking it's time that I needed for me to start understanding especially this anatomy, but I wasn't getting nothing. So at this point we are getting close to our final exams, which is the second MBBS exam, which is like the rate limiting step for all medical students. You fail at that point, you fail out, because you're writing three courses: medical biochemistry, anatomy, and physiology. If you fail one out of these three, you resit the one you failed after 3 months, I think 3 to 4 months. Then if you fail two, you have to repeat that class, and if you fail the three of them, you're being kicked out of medical school. So that's one of the reasons why it's like the most heart-wrenching exams that we medical students write. I'm getting close to the exams. I for sure know that my past scores, because one thing about medical school and the score, it's a cumulative something. All your tests all work hand in hand to give you the final score that you will be receiving at the end of your final exams. And for my past test, in my anatomy most especially, I've not been doing so great. I was really scared. Knew at the back of my head that there is a 90% chance that I may fail this anatomy. With this fear, I had to start seeking for help. But at this point, everybody is busy. We are all preparing for our final exam, so there's a limited amount of help that I'm going to be able to get from my colleague. I had just had to work with the limited time, and eventually the final exams came. Because our exam for our second MBBS in 300 level was MCQ, theory, steeplechase, which is like practical. Then we now have the oral, which we know as viva. For my MCQ in my anatomy, mind you, my other test scores have been low, so I'm trying to use my mock, which I didn't do so great, but at least compared to my other test results, I did better. I wanted to put in my 100 into my final exam to see if it can boost me to at least 50. Let me pass the anatomy. I already knew in my heart that there's a high chance that I'll pass my medical biochemistry and my physiology, but for anatomy I was really struggling. But unfortunately for me, getting into the hall, I was given the paper, and the paper, I think there were 5 sheets of paper, and we were being timed. But I was trying to be very, very meticulous, because MCQ is if you fail it, you fail it. If you pass it, you pass it. And MCQ can boost you a lot of marks, because you can get 100 over 100 in MCQ, unlike the theory where it's very, very scarce for you to get a perfect score. My MCQ, I was trying to be really, really meticulous to get as much scores that I can grab. But whilst being meticulous, I forgot to look at my time. That was the period where I didn't used to use wristwatch to go into the exam hall. So I was just like being meticulous, and I hear 15 minutes remaining, and I've only answered 2 sheets out of the 5 or 6 sheets they've given us. And in the midst of rushing, I forgot 2 sheets. I left like 2 sheets empty unanswered before they came to collect our papers after the 15 minutes, and I was thinking that I was done. But as I was scrolling through the papers to make sure that I wrote my name on all papers, I found out that 2 sheets were empty. They were like, pens up, you can't write again. If you write, they'll cancel your script. At that point, I could feel the tears welling up inside of me, because I know that if I don't answer these 2 sheets of paper, a girl is going to fail. Okay, because my other scores are not even going to boost me. No way they are going to. I've been struggling with 20 something, 30 something out of 100. What's that gonna do for me? This is my last hope, and my last hope is falling before my eyes. I went to the supervisor and I was bawling, crying. I begged. Nothing could be done. It's a professional exam. The time is up. Everybody has equal time. If they give me back my paper, it won't be fair to other people. I went home and I cried and I prayed, and it was remaining our viva and our steeplechase. I did the steeplechase, still praying to God, did the viva, but the result came out and I passed the other 2, but I failed anatomy. And that was the moment where I experienced my first mental breakdown in medical school. I went home and I was shattered. I know people will be like, others had it worse. Some people failed 2 and repeated. Some people failed 3 and they failed out. But everybody is experiencing their own pain. Just because I failed 1 doesn't mean that they didn't have the capability of breaking me, because that 1 failure broke me. Of course, I was given 3 months to go read and then come back and resit the exams. But that 3 months was torture. It was horrendous for me. I've not experienced failure like this before, especially since I've gotten into a space which is medical school, which is where you're surrounded by so many smart people. So it made me feel like less of myself. It made me question my intellect, because I'm like, these people are so smart. I don't think I should be in the same room as them. Mind you, I'm not the only one that resat this exam, but it felt like I was the only one that should be ashamed about it, because after the 3 months, I came back and I met the other people who are also resitting it. Everybody was like cool, like laughing and chill. I'm like, what's so funny about life? Because that was how I felt. Like, I felt like everybody's looking at me like I'm stupid. I failed 1 course and I'd already tagged myself as foolish, as stupid. Mind you, I have the most amazing parents. They were there for me throughout the 3 months of my study session, and my mom was so encouraging, and she's like, it's not the end of the world. Like, you just need 3 months to go back and be better. It's like they're telling you, you didn't do so well, we're giving you a chance to come and show us we know that you can do it. That's why we're giving you 3 months to come back and show us that us believing in your capabilities is not false. But I didn't see it that way. I was really hard on myself, and I didn't know that me being hard on myself is going to affect my forthcoming classes. Year 4, I eventually wrote the exam, passed the anatomy receipt exams, and got into year 4. That was where my mental torture started. I struggled so much mentally because I took that mentality that I was already a failure and that I'm stupid, that I'm not worthy of being in medical school surrounded by so many smart people. It got so bad that it was time for me to start studying. It's 4th year and we are writing 5 courses. And these 5 courses have over hundreds of topics that you have to read. And this girl is coming into this serious class with serious workload with the mentality that she's already stupid. So that was where my battle started from, because I've already positioned myself as not worthy of being here. So no matter what I did, no matter how much I studied, I didn't believe that I'm supposed to be in medical school. So I battled a lot with my self-esteem, and it was showing in my academics because I am the serial number 1 in my class. So my name is the first TC. So the first result comes out, which is our first in course, and I get 30 something out of 100. And I'm seeing my classmates from 2 going downwards are getting 60s, 70s, 80s, and I get a 30 something. If my mental health was not already damaged by second MBBS, that is enough to shatter the little inch of mental stability I had. That first result broke me. I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and I didn't even care to find out, because I felt like, what's the use of finding out when I'm already broken? What's the use of putting pieces that are already shattered together? I failed my first in course, failed my second in course, but I am so privileged to have amazing people who genuinely care about me. My friends, my colleagues, they were so worried about me. We all wanted each other to graduate together. Me failing that horrendously was not just scary for me, but scary for my friends, for my colleagues, because we are seeing ourselves as a package. We all want to live together. They really came through for me with their help. A lot of them started extending their help to me because I wasn't the type to go ask for help. My friend came to me one time and then asked me what was going on, and I shared for the first time my mental health struggles, and I cried for a really long time while sharing it with him. And from that very first day that I shared my mental health journey with him, I was now gradually opening up about my mental health struggle with my other friends as well, and they were really kind to me. They prayed for me and they were always there to encourage me. And because I saw that there were so many people who still believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself, I had to make myself feel delusional enough to believe that I am smart again. Because at this point, like I said before, I'd already said that I'm no longer smart. Let's just pretend that we are smart until we become smart again. That was where my head was at, because I had so many people who were rooting for me. And mind you, at this point, I didn't want to share it with my parents, because I know that if I shared my mental health struggle with them, they'll be so worried. And one thing about me is that once my parents are worried, it affects me mentally as well. So I didn't want to add extra pepper in my wounds. I worked my ass off. After my second time, I saw my results that I failed my second test. It was remaining my mock and my MB, and I have 5 courses. I had to tell myself that I have an academic comeback that I need to make, but 5 is quite a lot for someone that has struggled mentally throughout this year in 4th year. Or just maybe let me grab 4 and fail 1. But I really wanted to pass the 5 of them, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to put in my spirit, soul and body into the most important 4. All of them are important too, but I think one has to give. In 4th year we did pathology and pharmacology. Another pathology, we had 4 courses, and then pharmacology was standing on its own. So you either fail pathology or you fail pharmacology. But what we were doing then was, pathology had chemical pathology, hematology, microbiology, and histopathology. Within these 4 courses I just mentioned, most I was struggling with was chemical pathology. So I told myself that I'm not going to fail pharmacology, because if I fail pharmacology and fail one of these 4 courses, I'm going to repeat. So what's going to happen is that I'll make sure I pass my pharmacology and pass at least 4 of the pathology and fail 1, so that I'll resit it. That's worst case scenario I had to put for myself, because I knew I had a lot of work to do for these 5 courses. Seeing that I've been failing the in courses because of my mental health struggle, but I found that my mental health was getting better because I was talking to people. I knew that I had to work extremely hard to make sure that I don't fail this class. I felt like worst case scenario, if I'm to fail, it has to be one. I can't fail more than one, so I don't repeat. I worked my ass off. I had never worked academically the way I worked in 4th year. That's why I feel like when I graduated with my friend, they were so freaking proud of me, because you see someone go from 0 to 100 in such a very limited time, you are bound to be impressed. I impressed myself. I went from knowing nothing and getting 30 something to bagging 60s and close to 70s towards my mock and my MBBS exam and my final exams. And by the time the final result came out, I failed chemical pathology, but I passed the other 4 courses and I didn't repeat the class. I had to resit the chemical pathology, but the jumps, the congratulations, the joy I received from people around me, you feel like I bagged distinction. My friends, my colleagues, they were so freaking happy for me that I just couldn't help but be happy for myself as well, because I wanted to also feel bad for failing chemical pathology. But seeing the amount of encouraging words, amount of congratulations, the amount of "I'm proud of you" I received, it was a pat in the back to tell me that, girl, you actually did good. Sometimes you need people to actually show you that you're actually doing good. Be appreciative of what you have, because sometimes you look at yourself and feel like you're not doing anything. But a friend will come and remind you that, hey, you did this. You were at 0 yesterday, but you did this. You should be proud of yourself. And then it will let you know that, actually, I should give myself credit sometimes when it's due. After 3 months, I wrote my receipt exam and I passed. Then getting into 5th year. In 5th year was when I realized that my major enemy was not the books but me. I had to really fight against me. I was like, I struggled for this past 2 years. These next 2 years, I need to have academic distress session. I need to be academically unstressed. I'm going to work harder, but I don't want to be mentally stressed in my 5th year and in my 6th year. 5th year, I immersed myself into the world of academic. I studied like I knew nothing. I prayed like I knew nothing. I made sure I showed up to the hospital. If I'm not understanding anything, I opened my mouth and I asked. The mistakes I made in my 4th year, my 3rd year, my 2nd year, I took them into consideration, because my 5th and my 6th year is my clinicals. I'm now interacting with patients. I'm dealing with human beings, not just books this time around. I had to be serious with life because I'm now dealing with human life. I made sure that I showed up in the hospital, asked questions. I made my face to be known, because I was this type of person that was always hiding. People will see me and be like, oh, you're in medical school, you're a medical student, how come I don't see you in class? I'm literally in class, but I'm at the back. I was in the mental space where I felt like I needed to hide. Nobody needs to see me, because I felt like a failure. I felt dumb. I didn't want anybody to know me. I didn't want any lecturer to know me. No consultant should know me. But my 5th year, I had to throw that behind. I just had to immerse myself academically. I'm like, if I was able to go from a 0 to 100 within a short, limited amount of time in my 4th year and I passed, imagine what would happen if I actually immerse myself from the very beginning of the academic year. The moment I started doing this, my first results came out. Our first in course was in alignment with the period where I was writing my receipts for the chemical pathology I failed in 4th year. So I didn't have much time to read really well as I would have wanted for my first junior posting exams in my 5th year. But once I was done with my receipt exams, my score wasn't so great. So I had one of my deans call me after the first result. So he called me and asked me like, why didn't I get a good score in my first junior posting exams? I had to open up to him and told him that I just had a receipt in my 4th year exams, and he was really encouraging. And that was the first time that a consultant actually knows me and gave me encouraging words, because like I said, I started making myself known to them, started appearing to the hospitals so that they will know me. My second result came out and a girl was, you know what they call flying colors? I was flying in colors. The results were amazing. I was beyond shocked myself, and the finals came and I smashed. and got into my final year without any receipt for the first time since 200 level. And that was like a confidence booster for me. For someone who struggled for over 2-3 years with her confidence, with her mental health, that was the first time that I felt like I do belong here. I am smart enough to be here. That was the first time that my brain switched to really nothing else but positive thinking, and it really showed in my 600 level because I read and I understood, because I've already put my head in the headspace of positive thinking. I've already removed that cloak of fear, that cloak of shame. But it was the first time that I went through the academic side of medical school without feeling like I was broken. Like I had, this confidence that people used to have, that and I'm going to pass, I don't need to fear. That was my first time ever experiencing it. I mean, my 500 level I passed without any receipts, but I still had my doubt. But my 600 level was the first time that I could beat my chest and be like, I am not feeling this year. I'm becoming a doctor this year. I had academic confidence for the first time in so long, and it was really liberating, especially for someone who is about to get out of the world of academics and into the world where I have to interact with patients and I have to make sure that I'm confident. That was like the year where I built my confidence, not only as a medical student but as a potential doctor to be, because that's the confidence that I'm going to be using to be connecting with my patients. And I'm already working part-time right now, and so far the confidence is literally showing in the way I talk to patients, the way I handle cases, and the way I assist my consultants in the hospital that I'm working temporarily while I'm waiting for my house job. My 6th year was my first time of experiencing a little bit of ease academically, mentally, physically, and psychologically, and I was really happy by the December when the result came out. I was in tears, but this time around it was tears of joy, it was tears of appreciation, it was tears of celebration. And that's like the wish I have for every single medical student out there who is really struggling, who is really pushing and working really hard, that you get opportunity to experience that tears of joy, and that all the late nights will be eventually worth it at the end of the tunnel, when you see the pass and you officially bag that degree that you've been working your ass off for, because you deserve it, because you're smart. Okay, that is like the summary of how I went through medical school. I mean, I summarized it for you people because a girl cried. Oh, I cried a lot in this medical school something, but let's leave that for another day. If you've gotten to this point of the video, it's obvious you've been enjoying this video so far, so why haven't you liked? Please like, share to your friends, your family, your enemies. Share it to any medical student you know, any nursing student you know, any pharmacy student you know, any student at all you know that might be going through academic struggle. Comment in the comment section which part of the video has resonated with you, what are the lessons that you've learned from this video, and share a few tips if you have for any student that may be struggling academically, so that they can learn 1 or 2 things from your experience as well in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notification bells, because I know I've been gone for so long, but I'm back now. I promise I'm not gonna disappear again. Even if I'm going to disappear maybe 1 week and I'll come back after the next week, but I'm not going out of this place again. We have gotten our doctor degree now. Next is to become a YouTuber, so I cannot become a YouTuber if I disappear. So please stick around, subscribe, turn on your post notification bell, and I'll be posting every Saturday. So come here every Saturday in case YouTube wants to misbehave and doesn't send you a notification. Come here every Saturday and you have something new from me to watch. And I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Until then, Dr. Abby says stay happy and stay blessed. Mwah.